Hello everyone, my name is Luis Mendez and I'm going to be showing you five factors that can improve the value of your home and to maximize your home value before you sell. Now these are my opinions and this is also what I've seen to actually make a difference. And I'll be talking about a few things also that won't necessarily improve the value of your home, but when it comes down to choosing for a buyer to choose what home to get, it will definitely win them over. So let's get started. So the number one factor, of course, regardless, is location. So it depends where you bought your house and what's being built nearby. You know, one good example is Lake Wells. I would say 5-10 years ago, Lake Wells wasn't a really high desired area. But now that there's been so much remodeling, it's the last affordable close to Orlando, and it's easy access to Tampa. It's starting to look like a more reasonable place to live. So the home value is literally skyrocketing, and it is ending up becoming a better choice for a lot of buyers to move to the area. But so the location of your home really matters, and what's being built around. You know, if you bought a nice home out in the country, 10 years down the road, a factory decides to open right next door, that's going to affect the value of your home. You can't really control that. You could maybe go down to the city and fight, or the county and fight against that, but a lot of those features can't really help you. But just to know, location, of course, is key, and you'll hear that all the time. Location, 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 because that's a very important thing. Where your home is makes a big difference. Also, I would say if somebody wants a good thing too that I get buyers to ask for is, they want to stay in an area where it's close to a good school. If their child is already in a good school, or if they want their child to go to the school next year, or the following year or down the road, that area becomes really desirable. I know I've seen people in Orlando, there's a certain area and neighborhood where it's like, as long as it's near this school, I want it. If it's not near the school, I don't want it. I don't care about it. It's not gonna motivate me. So you have people like that. You have, if you're in a college town, you're looking for an investment property, you could sell your home or rent it out, and you can make it saying, hey, this is a college town, my home's near the college, it's going to be great for renting out. You could turn it into like a dorm. You could, if you're buying it for your kids while they go to college, they don't have to spend money in the dorms, they can stay here. So there's many amenities many benefits with living near a good school. Also, the amenities, is in a walkable town, walkable area. One good thing about Lake Wells is it's going to be design of it. It's going to be more geared towards a walkable area, meaning the porches on the front. It's easy access to walk downtown, close to restaurants. You could just hop on a bike. It's easy access to things nearby. Parks is a huge thing. Like if you live near splash parks, a downtown, a little town square, these features could make a big difference. And it doesn't matter about the size of your house. You could have a tiny home, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, but if you live near these places, it's going to be a really high desired spot. It's funny, my house, the same exact Sears catalog house, I found in Winter Park. Winter Park's a really high desired area to live, really up class, near, there's really walkable town. There's so much to do in that area, so many restaurants and shop. But the same exact house, when I bought my house for $75,000, the same house, same size lot, everything exactly the same, was for sale for $450,000. So that shows you location makes a big difference. And I'm telling you, they both were remodeled. It's just the location. It made a huge difference. And also employment. If you're, if you have an area where you're close to a big factory opening up, it may not be next to you, but it'll be like at least 15-20 minutes down the road. You're near the airport, you're near Disney, or near an area that has easy access to employment. Your area becomes more highly desirable, especially if at the moment it's a cheaper area or a low cost area. It's eventually going to become more expensive because it's going to be more desirable for people to come and buy that home. So whenever you have a house that's near an employment factor, that's good to know what area is hiring near you that pays really well, that's going to sustain a household, and that's going to bring a lot of value. And last is a clean neighborhood. And what I mean by clean neighborhood is some areas are HOA, so it's like it's more than likely those neighborhoods are going to be clean because they're they have so many rules. You can't park on the street, you can't park on the grass, you can't leave things out, your grass has to be 4 inches high. There's so many different rules. But if you live in an area that's non-HOA, you may have some neighbors that don't want to cut the grass, or cut the grass when they feel like it, or they have their cars parked out in their front yard, and that could affect the value of your home. But here's a few things. If you see trash laying around on your street or nearby, I would, and you're trying to sell your house, try to just go pick it up. Ask to cut your neighbor's yard. I know that's a little bit extensive, but you don't know their situation. They could be, they could have, be in pain. They could have, be really busy. They could have an injury. There's so many factors to why their grass is so high. I mean, they could be lazy, who knows. But if you're trying to sell your property, having a neighbor that's messy could affect it. So if you plan to help them out, I'm sure they'll be grateful for that, and help them out right before you put a sign on your yard, so that way they kind of know you're not just trying to help them out for a week or two. But encourage your neighbors, within the town, like, hey, let's take care of our street together. Doing these little things, it makes a huge difference. Our next factor is curb appeal. Of course, if everyone has their home, the curb appeal looking nice, it helps, but your curb appeal matters the most. If you're going to sell a house, and especially I get a lot of people, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers who will like to sell their house more than what the market's worth. And if you're trying to do that, at least have the best curb appeal in the whole wide world, because that's the first impression. People are coming to look at your house. They want, that's going to get them in the door. When they're clicking on the Zillow photos, Realtor.com, on the MLS, when they're clicking and looking at different options, they're trying to see what's a good house to choose from. So, if you have great curb appeal, they're going to start clicking on that, see a few photos, and then they're going to probably call their realtor, call me and say, hey, I want to go schedule a look at this house. And I've gotten a lot of buyers, where I would not even think they would like the area, but because the home had such nice curb appeal, they were willing to forget about so many other different factors, where they ended up getting the house. So some things you could do, have a well-maintained exterior and attractive landscape, and it helps boost the home. Put some flowers out there. Make sure it has a new paint. Which the next one is, paint the house. Make sure the house matches the neighborhood in a sense. Like if every house has an earth tone in your neighborhood, don't be the oddball to paint your house pink. It doesn't make sense. Unless you're living on the beach, then you have, all these vibrant colors, and that's one thing. But, this house, if you paint it like some, mint green or hot pink, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you out. And especially the siding. Like, take a look, walk around your property. pretend you're going to buy a house. Would you rebuy your house in another location, or would you pick something else? And see what buyers see, and fix those little areas. We talked about maintaining the garden. Work on the garden bed, and it won't cost you so much. There's one client I had a garden bed, but it was kind of empty. It just had weeds and growing there, and I'm like, you could spend a few bucks on this. And she probably spent maybe $20 to $30. She put some mulch, bought some little flowers, and it made such a humongous impact. Her house, everything else was perfect besides the little, probably, was it 4x8 garden bed. And once she fixed that up, it just made everything look so beautiful. So definitely, make those little changes to help add the value. Because like I was talking about in the beginning, there's some things you could do that will add value. Other things will help buyers choose your home over someone else. And this is one huge factor, because buyers are thinking, well, clean house, well-maintained house, from the outside means they must really take care of the home. So it's going to help. The next thing is a well-designed outdoor lighting. If you live in the country, live in an area that's dark, you want to have a lot of lights. It for buyers, they're thinking safety. Like I said, this isn't going to add an extra $10,000 to your home, but it does cause them to choose your home over somewhere else, because it's less work for them. When they see the home, and they're gonna if I always tell buyers, drive by the area during the day, drive by the area during the night, and see if you like it. And if buyers go by the area during the night and they don't feel safe, it doesn't matter how pretty your home is. If they come by and it's super dark, they're not going to feel safe. And it doesn't matter where you live, crime happens all over. You could live in a rich neighborhood or the not so rich neighborhood. There's always going to be crime. There's always going to be stuff. But if you have a well lit area, it feels safer. Next is have that inviting, well kept front entrance. And the reason I say this is a lot of people use a garage door to go inside their house, and they completely forget the front. And the front is covered with wasp nests. It looks completely old and rusty. It's like abandoned. So, you could decorate your front, clean the front door, paint the trim, paint the door, make it look more exciting. Which part of the driveway, which is the next thing we're talking about, you could have a brick driveway, brick sidewalk, causing that entrance to come in, it's more inviting. But if you leave that abandoned, buyers are going to think you have a lot of other things that are abandoned. So make sure you don't do that. And like I said, the next thing is driveway and walkways. Use an edger. If you don't have an edger, have a company come out and use the edger to cut up to clean, the grass that's spilling over to your sidewalk. It just makes it look clean. It's like, think of someone having a suit, or a nice clothes, but it's not ironed. When someone's wearing a nice suit or nice clothing and it's fully ironed, it has that starch. You can see the crest in the clothing. It looks very sharp. Well, same with the home. If you pressure wash the sidewalk, the walkway, or even if you do designs like, you take out the cement and put bricks, that's going to be such a huge value to the curb appeal, and it will attract buyers. And last but not least is, if you can't afford to do so much stuff, at least clean your brand new or 100-year-old like my house. It's going to get dirty. If you have a shady area, you're going to see some that green mold on the outside of your house at least once a year. So there's these, you have a company wash your house, and it's a soft wash. It'll go in there, clean out all of that stuff. It'll clean the roof and have that. It costs about, to do the whole house, I've seen them around $400 to $800 depending on how big your house is. But it's well worth it, because it does add so much life to your home. And if you have an older home, if you've never cleaned the roof, it's like having a brand new roof. Putting a brand new roof is like at least $10,000 to $20,000. So you spend a few $100 to get at least the roof clean, and you have the siding clean. It's gonna seem like a brand new house. And be careful, you may not want to sell your home. But from there, the next thing is, let me move my face, is home renovations. This is where your key factor is going to be. If you're, you want your house to match the time frame that we're living in. And you could really spot on and see that. If it's from the 70s, everything's a lot mustard, brown and mustardy type look. From the 80s, you have a lot of the, it's this like light tan, a light tan features everywhere. The 80s and the 90s is trying to get into more of a dark brown features. But you could kind of notice when you walk into a house if it's really aged. And there's a few things you can do to make a big difference. Is renovating. If you can renovate anything, at least the kitchen and bathroom. Now, I've heard on average to renovate the kitchen and bathroom is at least $14,000 to $15,000 and up, and it goes up from there. But there's a lot of things you could do to remodel your bathroom and your kitchen without having to spend that much. At least the countertops. Formica is a cheap option for the countertops, but see if you can put stone, because putting Formica is going to be like the cheapest option, less desired from that. So if you put like a nice stone, you can find the cheapest stone to put on your kitchen counter, and it will really help. And then the cabinets, you could change, as long as it's not tore up, you could change the little metal parts on it. You could change the handles, you could paint them, and it adds such value to it. There's a photo I posted on my Facebook page where a lady, she spent maybe $200 to just paint the kitchen cabinets on the top and bottom. She painted it went from brown to like this mint green, and she had a white countertop. It cost very, very, very little to do that, but it made such a huge difference. Her kitchen looked brighter, bigger. It looked completely brand new, and it catches your attention. So if you're looking to do some renovations, you don't have to spend the big bucks on it, but your kitchen and bathroom are a key point, because that's where people like to, they do spend a lot of time in those areas. And then next thing is having a new roof. One thing that's killing Florida homes and just destroying Florida in a bad way is the insurance industry. And having a house that's like 15, that has a roof that's like 15 years old, really hurts. So you could clean. There's many ways to clean your roof, but if you want something that's going to add value, is having a new roof. I would always shoot for metal roofs if possible. That costs the most, but not all metal roofs looks pretty on a house, so as long as you get the right color. But you want something that's going to have lots of long life onto it, because it's going to add a lot of value. There's some cheap roofs out there which I don't recommend, and then there's some good value, strong roofing out there. It's going to cost a lot of money. It may, in fact, it may balance out what you're going to make from it, but it could be a huge factor in getting your home sold, especially in today's market. Different features in your appliances. Modern fixtures. Now here's some of the things you could do. In your, it won't even cost that much, but like the sinks and the doorknobs and the shower heads, those little features you could change, make them match, make them look a little bit more modern. It really attracts people, because especially if you've been in the house for 10, 20 years, you probably have some like calcium buildup on there, watermarks, and it may not look so pretty. So doing those small little bits of changes will really help. Also, I recommend, if you're doing appliances, go for those appliances that are green or more energy efficient. That'll be another factor I'll talk about. But when you put appliances, that if you're leaving any appliances with the home, make sure they're energy efficient. They have a good quality. That adds a lot of benefit. And then the last part for this is make sure when you theme the home, make sure it flows completely throughout the whole house. And I've seen this a lot. This has been a big problem with homes in the early 2000s. This is like, and you could walk into a house and you know it's from the 2000s, because one area will be white, another area will be pink, another area will be beige, and this part's brown, green, blue, and it just looks completely ugly. Someone walks into this house, they're like, I have to paint so much. And I've seen homes that were on the market and they had so many different colors and it won't sell. And then the moment the homeowner just goes and paints it all white, or paints it all gray, or paints it one solid color throughout everything, and maybe you can have one accent wall, or for one little thing, but once he did that, it looked like the whole place was fully remodeled just by painting it one color. So when you if you're gonna remodel the kitchen counter, and taking out the formica, putting in a granite, make sure the bathroom matches the kitchen. Don't make it be the bathroom's one design, kitchen's one design. That's a huge no. So next factor is energy efficient. Now, a lot of these things may not add too much value to your home, but it would really help push buyers to choose your home over somebody else's. One is solar panels. You have solar panels on there. With today's, everything is so expensive. Having a solar panel on there, if it's with the warranty, that's going to be a huge benefit. And some solar panels are able to be transferred over, so the buyers could continue paying the monthly fees. The next thing is having double pane windows. That's like a must, especially if you live in Florida. A lot of those are a lot stronger, but it changes the energy. It's hot in Florida, so when you have a double pane window, it's super, super effective to keeping the house cool, and is also a lot stronger. Energy efficient appliances, and what I mean by this is there's the stove and the fridge. There's some that uses less power. The washer and dryer, I've seen some that are more energy efficient than others. Your dryer and washer is going to be pulling a lot of energy. Also, if you're looking for energy efficient things, is your water heater. And there's some smart water heaters. You have the tankless water heater that just heats instantly, or you have these hybrids which will connect to your Wi-Fi, your phone. So let's say if it's at night, or you're away from the house, your tank is not constantly heating, so it keeps it cool. So it's using less energy, and your energy bill drops. And trust me, I went from a tank water heater to a tankless water heater, and I would say my energy bill dropped about $30-40 a month, which is a huge thing. Next thing I would say also is that have a smart home and get that thermostat. There's lights or smart lights where you walk into the room, it turns on, you walk out, it turns off. Those are huge things to get as well. But the smart thermometer, I think that is a huge thing. It's like throughout the day, the temperature will automatically go up and down, and it does save us a lot of money, especially compared to when I lived in the apartment where you had to get up and manually change it. This one, if we leave the house for the whole day, the AC goes up. And if I'm driving home, if I want the house to be cold, I could literally go on my phone and lower the energy bill, the AC, and I walk into a cool house. So it's really awesome to have that. So I highly recommend new homes to get that. And also LED lighting. It's almost like a no-brainer. If you have some lights anywhere, it shouldn't be these super expensive. You should try to have LED lights everywhere. It keeps the home energy efficient, but also makes the house look bigger and brighter as well. And then the last thing is having the correct amount of insulation in the roof. And it doesn't add value to have that, but during the inspection, if the house doesn't have that insulation, people start to worry about a lot of issues. So make sure your home has the insulation, the proper insulation for you. These are huge factors for you. And then the last is adding additional space. Now here's one thing: do not whatsoever convert the garage into a bedroom or anything other than, if as long as the garage can still open and close, you can maybe turn your garage into a gym. But do not close off your garage and turn it into a bedroom and expect to sell your house down the road to get more money. It's not gonna work. People want a garage. So if anything, if you close it off, maybe have a extra detached garage, so then that way people think and see, okay, well, this is now part of the house. But converting the garage into an extra bedroom, that's a huge no. That is very, very problematic. And as you see down here, where I talk about, when you add square footage, make sure it's on the same level. The thing about converting a garage, it ends up, the floor drops, and it's kind of bothersome because it's not a natural, it's not the consistency with the home. So a garage conversion does not help. It hurts the home. But if your house doesn't have a garage, putting a detached garage is a huge plus. That really helps the buyer, because that's added to your total added square footage of the home. Or having a carport. And trust me, having a carport versus not having a carport plays a huge difference. It makes a lot of difference. This is another one that makes your home stand out and does bring a lot of value, because now, mind you, this is all inside the home, and we're all adding extra square footage to the property, which is adding either a side porch, a front porch, back porch, anything that's an enclosed porch. Some could be open as well, but you're adding more coverage to your home, and you're giving yourself more of a layout, more places to hang out, to socialize, to fellowship. So that does add a lot of pros. Another thing is adding a detached or an attached in-law suite. It sounds like this is now, converting your home into a generational home. It seems to be now more of a thing because homes are becoming so expensive. Families are starting to move in together. So having that detached in-law suite does help help the value increase big time, especially if people end up using that as an Airbnb. The other part is any added square footage to the home. I've seen people where they add square footage, they add different compartments, but it's like 20 different levels. You walk into one room, you got to step up, walk into the next one, you got to step down, which that can be okay. It's added square footage, but buyers, that pushes buyers away. Now, if you have added square footage where it's on the same level, buyers not going to know it's an added space. They're just going to be thinking it's part of the home. Or depending on how your structure is, you could have an engineer create a second floor and make your house a little bit bigger. So those are going to be huge factors, to the house. Now let's, going back to the beginning, I just want to do a quick cover up. Your location is a huge factor. Your curb appeal, your renovations that you choose to make, and making things energy efficient, and adding the additional square footage space to the house. These are your key factors of what's going to help you bring in a lot of value to your home. If you have any questions, please contact me at 407-790-6232. Let's go over how much your house could, potentially be worth at today's market. See if it's a good time for you to sell. See if it's a good time for you to hold on to the market. But if you'd like to know, give me a call at 407-790-6232. Thank you.